We've talked this season a few times about the long drives. You guys have worked really hard to prevent giving up big plays. Last game, I don't think they had a play that went over 20 yards, but they were able to really chew up the clock. What do you have to do to address that?
Oh, the what we identified, in the middle of the game was just that this team we should have treated a little bit more like an academy school. They did a really good job. Obviously they've got a good offense, a great offensive minded head coach. They just found a couple things that you probably would have been able to wrinkle out, with a couple more days of practice, but don't want to take any credit away from them. I think the scheme that they run is good. It's fun. I think you're going to see a lot more teams kind of go into that, the academy feel with a little bit more pass involved, and it's a good scheme. And so, we didn't do a good enough job on the early downs, first and second down. Obviously we still gave up a couple of those big plays, too many 7-8 yarders, that put it into second and short. And when you get an academy school, into downs like that, then they feel pretty good about just running it on third and short as well as fourth and short if they need to. And so, that's as far as just addressing, we came and watched film and felt like it was probably more of just an issue of schematical things that we probably could have done differently, but thought the boys played hard. The kids played hard, and it wasn't anything, no personnel issues. That's the thing when you look at it. And so we talked to our team about it as well. Felt like they played hard, played tough. You play a good team that finds something, and they continue to expose it, and you don't fix it, then you're going to give up some of those long drives. So that answer your question?
Yeah, it seemed at times that some of the guys were hesitant just because of the way the option was, going, and catching them out of position.
Yeah.
Watching that as a coach, I imagine that was kind of tough just because you want your guys to be reactive instead of, playing instinctually instead of being reactive.
Yeah, when you're playing a team like that, a team that puts a little bit of stress on you where if you're playing an academy school, you go back to the fundamentals and you're saying your assignment is to tackle the dive, your assignment is to take care of the quarterback, your assignment's for the pitch, and just we were a little bit out of practice with that. And, as we went back and looked at the statistics of where we gave up most of the yards, we gave up most of the yards in the triple option stuff that the quarterback was able to expose or just make a play or have a guy that was a little bit, playing in between the pitch and the quarterback, and the quarterback was a good player that made some plays. And so probably more attribute anything is just a little bit more out of practice. It's almost like trying to get your players ready for Navy in a day. There's some things that definitely stuck out that we should have done better, and you go back and you kind of write in your journal about things that you could have done differently, would have done differently. In retrospect, as you go back, if you have a chance to do it again, these are probably the things that you do differently. And so that's the way that we've got to look at it. But I think the biggest message to our players and our team was that they play their hearts out. There's no lack of effort all the way to the end. There's just a good team. We found a couple of things to just keep some drives going, and too many mistakes in all three phases for us. We just didn't look like the BYU team that we normally are. They just look a little bit out of practice. A couple of mistakes, a couple of special team substitutions, and all those things. So it ended up being what the game was.
All right, question from Jake Hatch and then Dick Harmon.
Yeah, Ilaisa, you partially answered there in your very first question, but I wanted to ask you, how unique of a look was that offense from Coastal?
It was very unique, and I think just like a lot of those academies. So we were more more worried about the quarterback's ability to throw the RPO. That was very dangerous. As we watched film, we were like, okay, if these guys are throwing RPOs and we're a little bit quick to the run, that could be something that hurt us. But just like any academy school, those guys kind of find a niche, just within a blocking scheme or an alignment or something, they continue to come back to it. And so they just did a good job, I thought, with their adjustments, and just had better adjustments than we did. And we kind of thought that we fixed a couple things, and when we came back to it, it just wasn't fixed. And so we started playing a little bit more based in the last couple series, which worked better for us. But it's a good scheme. It's difficult. It puts a little bit of stress on you. When you look at the academy schools, the RPOs are not as dangerous. This quarterback was a good player. He's a kid that has a good arm, that throws on time, that the formations that they put you in, as well as their motions and the possible pitch guys, just put a lot of stress on you, as well as just playing the dive and the run. And so it's definitely a fun scheme to defend. It's a really, really good scheme, and I think you're going to see more of it. People are probably going to reach out to him, and he's had a lot of success in all the places that he's been, and people are going to start doing it a little bit more because it's a good scheme.
And then just real quickly, the college football playoff rankings came out tonight. You guys dropped to number 18, essentially flip-flop places with Coastal. They're 13, you're 18. What is your thought on these rankings? Do you embrace it? What has kind of been your mentality as a coach on all of this?
I don't have any opinion when it comes to any of that stuff. Personally, I'm just the D coordinator. I think that's a good question for the head coach.
Okay, thank you.
Dick Harmon?
Okay, I might be break.
I think he's driving, so I think he's breaking up. Let's go to another question, then we'll come back to him. Any other questions for Coach? All right, let's go ahead, Jared, and then we'll try Dick Harmon again.
Coach, you guys actually did fairly well last year when you faced San Diego State. They scored a late touchdown, I think, but it was a pretty close game for most of the game. What do you see as you prepare for this weekend's game?
Yeah, it's, similar. I think the offensively they're a little bit different, but a lot of the same concepts. They're a team that wants to run the ball. They've got quarterbacks that can run. It's a team that plays really well on defense and tries to keep the score close and see where they're at in the fourth quarter, which was exactly how our game ended up going last year. And so, this game for sure is gonna come down to us stopping the run. I'm sure they're looking at the coastal film and trying to pick a couple things out that they think that they can take advantage of, and we've got to do a good job just making sure that our boys are ready and schemed up to stop some of the things that they're doing in the run game, and put them into long yard situations and force the quarterback to make throws to win them the game. And so we've got to stop the run. It'll be the most important thing for us this week.
You touched on this, but how the feeling this week after having gone through such a short turnaround with a travel day last week, what's the feeling like as a coaching staff now that you're back to more of a normal routine?
You put the game behind you. I'm just speaking for myself. You watch the game, you kind of soak it in on the weekend. You finish watching it with your players, you talk about it, and you start game planning for San Diego. So we start game planning for San Diego State on Monday, and then late into Monday night, and deliver the plan to the players. And so for me personally, I put the Coastal game behind me. Took a lot of notes and a lot of things in the journal that I normally keep, as well as you go back and you kind of staring at the ceiling at night when you can't sleep, just thinking about what you could have done differently, and new things come into your mind about maybe this, maybe that, or what if this happened. You come back and you write that in your notebook, and then as soon as the players come into the building, it's on to the next. And I think Kalani's done a good job of just getting the players hey, we've what happened, we lost, and we've got to move on to the next one, and we can't let any loss affect this next week's opponent. And so for us as coaches, it's exciting to be on to a new opponent, exciting to be playing football. It's getting cold outside and we're late into the year, but we're still playing ball. So I think that's a success, and we'll just continue to just focus on that, which is the success of playing ball this late.
All right, another question from Jake Hatch.
Yeah, Ilaisa, you kind of mentioned that we're getting late in the year. This season has stretched on for you guys for a long time. You guys played Labor Day night, obviously, against Navy, and now you're coming up on mid-December. how has the team kind of dealt with the multiple bye weeks and the unique nature of the season, in your opinion?
I thought the team's handled it well. They've been. The season was taken away from us, right, initially, and so I think the excitement of being able to play, dealing with the bye weeks as they've come, as well as just the new opponents as they've come, has been a crazy, bizarre deal. But it's been fun just to play games, just to play football. And I think that the players have been grateful, had an attitude of gratefulness, and just being able to strap it up and line up from across each other and prep for the next week and play. And so I found a lot of success this year in the way that we played. Obviously, the team's playing well, but I think for the most part, just everyone's just grateful to be playing ball, and whatever bye weeks we have to deal with, we deal with, and move on to the next week.
And one more question from me. Of course, weather potentially coming in this weekend. You guys are playing late Saturday night, mid-December. Most of the time people ask the question to the offense how it will affect them with the weather. How do you feel it'll affect your defense playing in weather?
I don't think it's going to affect the defense at all. We've got a lot of kids that have a screw loose on the defense. I think those kids are going to be up for it. They've got there's a lot of tricks of the trade now. When you're talking about playing this late, you never want to see a kid wearing the thick sleeve shirts out there. That's just kind of soft. And so we're going to continue to promote that and say you can't wear sleeves out there. And there'll be a couple guys wearing kind of the tighter sleeves. But the trick that you got to do when it's cold like this is you put the Tiger Balm on just to get a little bit of heat, and then you cover it with Vaseline. And once you start sweating, it gets a little sticky, and it just kind of coats all the air and it keeps you warm the rest of the night. And so a lot of the boys have been doing that for the last couple of years, and it works.